This is how I built a 10k a month rent business in the UK, and in this video I'm going to explain how. 5 years ago I was barely making enough money to cover my own outgoings and my expenses, and I was so broke that my ex-partner had to even pay for my phone bills from time to time. Now I make enough money from properties I don't even own. So if you want financial freedom and you actually want to get out of a job that you're not happy with, that you're stuck in, or maybe getting paid way below than you're worth, this may be the best opportunity for you. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built that business, how I built this rent business from scratch, and also a management business. And guess what? It's all in this clip. I'm going to literally hide nothing, tell you the truth, exactly how it is, no fluff. And you'll see the exact honest truth for how I did it. And you are going to make sure you wait till the end. So keep watching. Now, whilst I film this video, I am sat in Greece in my Airbnb, and I'm filming this because I just realised it's my birthday, and it actually is my birthday, and I'm in Greece, and this would not be possible without my rent business and without my property business. So then it literally prompted me to, you know what, I need to film this video to basically show other people and explain what I've done and how others can do the exact same. So I've got some notes and basically a list of things I want to say on my iPad. I'm just going to go through them one by one and tell you everything, the whole journey. So I guess we should probably begin from the start. Now, quite a few years ago, I was just like you, scrolling on YouTube, trying to find different business ideas, different avenues of making money. And if you guys don't know already, which I'll put in this clip, but one of my first businesses was actually a candy business. And then I did a marketing business after that. And then I finally stumbled upon something called rent and property, which was like my third or fourth business. So I've been through the hoops and the journeys. Oh, sorry, I forgot about one more business. I even had a lash business. So I was doing a bit of e-com as well. I had my own lashes that I was selling. If you go on my site, you'll see, but I'll tag it below. You can see the whole journey, but I put clips of it here so you can see what I mean. But you can sort of see that I was basically selling lashes, and I've tried and tested every model. And from all the modules, the one that's given me the most success is this rent property business. It actually does work, and it actually does what it says on the tin. You can be financially free through rent, through property. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Now, I actually do remember my first ever deal, because when I first did rent, it was literally so hard. I had 0 properties at the time. I had no credibility. I still remember the agent's name to this day who gave me a property. And when we rang him as newbies, he was like, come on, it's our first property. You know, you want to take it. And for some reason, the agent actually said yeah, and he gave us a chance. And that was our way in. So I've had quite a few different starting journeys into rent. My first 2 official rents basically failed. Not failed in the sense of they flopped in terms of profit, but I did them both with my friends and as a joint venture, which is a JV. So we don't know what JV is. JV is where you do a business together, and in property or business they call it a joint venture, where 2 people come together. So I did a JV with this person. We got the property, but we didn't work out as good business partners. So we basically handed that property back, and then I got my own rent. I think a few weeks later with another friend. That one lasted a year, and then I basically put my foot in all through literally just getting my own. But before I started that, I did set up an Airbnb management company. And the reason why I'm saying this on the video is I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. I did Airbnb management first because it was easier. I had no money. I was literally broke as fuck. So if you're broke and you're barely covering bills, and I can barely afford my phone bill, I had to think of a way I can make money without having to invest a lot of money into property or into business. So I stumbled across something called Airbnb property management, and I was like, what the hell's Airbnb? So I did some research, and it's basically holiday let management. There's property management, but rather than managing normal properties, you manage Airbnb. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And at the same time, I also stumbled across rent. And I believe I saw it on YouTube somewhere. So I was like, oh, what the hell is rent thing about? Anyway, because I had really good skills in marketing and websites, I thought, you know what, let's just build a brand. So then I launched my property management company brand, which is called My Property, which still exists to this day, and it's still open. We still manage properties for landlords and clients. So if you do want your property managed, get in touch. But in a nutshell, we get a property and we charge 15% for full management, and we basically list it on Airbnb, and then we take the cut, and then the landlord and the client gets the remaining. So if the property makes £3,000 in bookings, and we charge 15% on top of that £3,000. That's how I make my cut, which is good, because if you do your maths, it's actually a very profitable business, because your expenses are very low, and it's so swift. Like if you have 10 clients with 10 properties, and each property is giving you 350 a month, 300 quid, pound, then that's 3,500 a month for literally doing 0 properties you own, 0 rent. Absolutely amazing. So that's why I think that business model is amazing. That's what basically helps me basically get my foot into rent-to-rent, because basically what happened was, whilst I was building my property management company, I also got sacked from my job. So what happened was, I quit my marketing job, the one that was giving me like really shit money. So then I had 0 money. So the only income I could rely on was my property management business. So I literally used that and scaled that. I think I scaled that to 8 properties. So I was making enough money to basically invest and get my own rent-to-rent. So that's how I officially done it. And I also did a JV, a joint venture with my friend, and we put half and half the money into it. So that's the God honest truth to how I got started into Airbnb rent-to-rent, which is through saving and then putting more money in. Now, if you're in a position where you don't want to build a management business, that's totally fine. You don't have to. I did it because I had the skills and I had time. Now, you may have a job that pays you probably a decent wage or pays you okay. So you don't need to go build a management company and then go into rent-to-rent. You can go straight into rent-to-rent, which is what I recommend you do, which is go straight into rent-to-rent. But here's my biggest key lesson that I've learned. Do not quit your job after 1 or 2 rent-to-rent. So you want to make sure you keep your job for as long as possible. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I made when I was starting was leaving my job way too soon. I should have kept it longer. But unfortunately, at the time, I just was not happy. I basically got sacked. And I say I got sacked. I wanted to quit and my boss basically sacked me at the time. So I thought it was good. And then shit hit the fan because COVID started. But we survived COVID and I still had my 8 properties that I was managing. So I basically strived through COVID, past that, started to get my own rent-to-rents, and then it blew up from there. And then from there, so this is later down the story now, I got a lot of loans. So I literally needed more money to invest into rent-to-rents and scale it faster. And in order to acquire large amounts of units, you need cash flow and funding. So I took out loans. I even messaged my old boss and I said to him, hey, I need some money. Can you help me? I want to take on 5, I think I took on 8 properties in one single block. I showed it to him. I was like, look, I've got this amazing property deal. It makes money. Here's the figures. Here's how it works. I need some money. Can you invest? And I don't know how, but he actually invested a lot of money. So my old boss, who sacked me, actually put in the money. I think at that time, he probably getting like £20,000. And I basically put all that straight into 8 properties. That was great. And then every month he gets his money back and a percentage. So that was basically great. So that enabled me to scale a lot more faster. If you don't have a position where you've got a boss, you can use family, friends, credit cards, loans, bank loans, or just work in your job and save longer. You don't have to take out loans. I was just stuck in a position where I was a young kid. I didn't have good credit or references, so I couldn't really go to the bank. The only loans I could get were like minuscule amounts, like 500 to 1,000. And then I later down the line, once I built the business, I then applied for American Express. So I got even a bigger and larger credit line and larger loans. So that basically helped a lot as well. But my advice to you is stay in your job, save for as long as possible. Like, I mean, literally save, because having a job is great. And the benefit to having a job is that you've got stable income. So when you go try to approach a landlord or an agent and they say, can I see proof of stable income or a job? Then you can provide that. Unfortunately, in my case, I couldn't provide that because I was self-employed for the last 5 months after being sacked. So I could not provide jack shit. Hence why the only way I could scale my unit was to either get loans, get investors, or get someone to give me the money and put it into the property to show bank statements of proof. That's basically what I did, and that's how I scaled it. So if you are looking to start and you're looking to scale it fast, then all you need to do is either save a decent amount or have a friend, family, someone who can loan you some money so you can get started and repay them back. Now, what I'm going to do is break it down to you exactly scale to 10K a month in property and in rent-to-rent. Number 1 is finding the right property. Now, not every property works for rent-to-rent, and trust me when I say this, I've been there and I've done that, and I've handed back properties after properties after properties and after losing money. And even to this day, right now, I'm still handing back properties because the market is changing so fast. So you have to adapt with the market. Now, 2-3 years ago, 1-beds were amazing. They were killer in my city, which is Birmingham. in probably London it's great, and probably other countries amazing, but in Birmingham, 1-beds were good. Nowadays, I'm talking 2-3 years later down the line, they're really, really poor. That's because there's a lot of saturation in the market, there's a lot of competition, and because there's so many hotels, why would someone pay for my Airbnb 80-90 quid when they can book a hotel for 60 quid? Do you know? So you need to factor in why someone would book, and you need to choose the right property. Now, I used to message landlords every single day, like 20 messages a day on open rent, but in order to succeed in rent and property, you have to be persistent, and you have to chase up on a deal. And what I mean by that is, if you message a landlord and they don't respond, then don't just leave it. Just respond, chase them the next day, maybe a few days later, maybe in a week or month later to see. And if that property is still sat on the market, then there's obviously a reason why. So you need to figure out why it's still sat on the market, and if it is, then say, hey, look, I just noticed your property's still on the market. Perhaps we could have a chat, and I could take the property off you so you don't lose any rent money. That's one way to get in. 2, closing deal. So how do you actually close a deal, and how do you get this across to the landlord or the agent, telling them that you want to do rent to rent? Now, most landlords have never heard of rent to rent. They don't know what it is. And if you try and portray this to them, they're probably going to be a little bit confused. If you try and use corporate words and jargons like company let and all these other crap, some of them may not even understand. Usually what I've done in the past is basically explain to them on the phone or in person. I never have done it on text too much. Usually my script is very simple, and it's not worked for me great. I'm literally straight to the point. My first message on text or email or whatever it is, hey, is a property still available? And would you be open to a long-term agreement? Is what I say. And this is literally my script. I swear to God, I promise you, this is my script. I say this to them, and all I do is sit back and wait. If they respond and they engage, then it's worth continuing the conversation. If they don't respond and they don't engage, then there's no point giving them waffle, giving them a whole spiel if they're not going to respond. Then once they do respond, I then engage and give them my script, tell them about it, tell them what rent to rent is. I don't tell them what rent to rent is, I basically tell them what I'm going to do to the property and what the benefit is. Obviously, I'm not going to say the script on this video because it's valuable data, but if you want to have access to it, message me on Instagram, I'll give you access to my Skool, or if you're on my mentorship program, you can have access. But basically, I go ahead with that, and then what I try and do is get them to jump on a call or do a viewing, and it works 100%. Now, in the past, I've used this script before, and it has worked all the time. All of my properties that I direct to landlord have been used by the same script. So I know this thing, how it works, because I'm preaching it and teaching you from experience, not from Google research or on this crap you see online. 3, listing it online. And once you have got a property, you want to make sure you market it correctly and properly, and it's on every OTA. And OTA is an online travel agent, so you've got Airbnb, Booking.com, Homeware, your own booking site, maybe your own direct booking site, stuff like that. You want to make sure it's on there and done correctly. Now, I always recommend you get professional photos done, because this can be the difference between making money and losing money. So it's always recommended you get professional photos done 100%. You never want to do it where you don't have professional photos, because trust me when I say this, it will not work. So you want to make sure you have professional photos done for your Airbnb and for your property. It only costs about 150 to 180 quid. I can guarantee you the returns you're going to get from the photos are worth it. So don't skimp out and literally use iPhone photos, because trust me when I say this, it won't work for today's market. As well as photos, you need to have a good title, good description, good overall look, style, feel, and then good branding. And the reason why I say this is because when you're trying to get direct booking, you're trying to convert people from Airbnb and Booking.com to your own site, to your own platform, you need to have a brand basically, because when they try and search for your brand or your company on Google after seeing you on Airbnb, they're going to search for your name, your profile photo, things like that. And if you don't exist on Google, you've got no site, no SEO, no branding, no Google listing page, you're not going to get found. So branding is really important when it comes to this sort of business model. And I always recommend is that do not rush the name. Here's a few examples of some of my listings and some of the bookings I've been getting, which you can see on your screen right now. And if you want to see more, you can message me and I'll show you my links, or you can go to my website and see all my properties and all the previous ones I've had, which I've still got on my site. You can see as a portfolio piece. And I also use my site to show other landlords when I'm scaling. So if I'm trying to get more properties on board, I say, hey, look, here's my site, have a look at my portfolio, look at my properties, and this is sort of standard I can do your properties and scale them to. And it's as simple as that. If you don't have any properties at the moment, what you could do is joint venture with someone else, do a JV, or maybe if you've got a mentor, you can ask if you can use their properties as your piece, maybe 2 or 3 properties, And then from that, you can stick it onto your site, go to agents or landlords and say, look, here's a property that I've got, here's what I worked to, here's what I've helped set up. And then your foot's in the door already, you've really got experience, you've really shown that you're credible. And all we need to do now is say yes. And once you have got the right property and it's all set up, you want to make sure it's optimized correctly. So as well as having photos, title, description, another massive thing is pricing and then optimizing for short or long stays, depending on your market and your area, whatever you want to do. I prefer to do longer stays because it's far more peaceful and better for me, because one long-term guest is far better than 20 short-term guests, in my opinion. You make a lot more money. I'll explain more about this in future videos, but long-term stays pay better. If you don't know what a long-term stay is like maybe 3 to 4 nights or more, a week or more, 2 weeks or more, a month or more. That is amazing, because when these guys book, let's say someone books for 2 months, then you get 2 months of payment up front like that. So you could either invest that or use it for something and then scale it. And that's literally how it works. Now, whenever I do take on a property, I always make sure that I take on a property with a minimum of at least £600 a month profit. If it's not making £600 a month profit, then there's no point taking it on. It's better to just pack your bag and give it back. I focus on deals that make money. Now in my program and my mentoring program, I always tell everyone, listen guys, do not take on that property because it's not going to be worthwhile. There's no point taking it on. Find a property that's going to pay you better, far better, and it's worth the stress so you can make more money, because then you only need a few of them to make enough or whatever you want to make to be financially free or have a stable life, compared to having 10 of ones that barely sometimes lose you money, sometimes make you a little bit of money, compared to having 3 or 4 that make you a lot of money. So I'd rather go for properties that make you loads of money compared to the ones that don't make you barely any money, and they're probably cheaper to run. And lastly, I want to touch on some mistakes that you do not want to make. Now, these are really important, so make sure you listen. Overpaying for rent. Now, if you are desperate, which most people are these days, and they take on deals and it's far too expensive, but the market or the rent is way above market rate, do not take it on, just walk away. Trust me when I say this, the amount of times people in my Discord or my WhatsApp groups have taken on a property and are paying double what they should be paying, and they can't afford the cost because that property won't earn above a certain limit. And what I mean by that is that 1-bedroom income is capped at a certain price, like where's the camera there? Here. So let's say a 1-bedroom will only earn here this much. A 2-bedroom may earn this. A 3-bedroom may earn that. If you've got a 1-bedroom and you're paying 2-bedroom rates, but your income is here, you've got this much of a difference. So you're obviously going to be losing money every single month. So my biggest lesson, key take here is do not overpay the property. Just walk away if the deal's not right and the deal doesn't stack. Now, anytime you do take on a deal, make sure you do your market research, you do your checks, make sure the deal makes sense before you do take it on. The next one is picking the right area. Not every area works, so do your research and do your due diligence. Now, if you're in a remote destination in the middle of nowhere and you think, oh, no one's doing Airbnb here, I'm going to do it here, and you make zero money, then there's obviously a reason why. No one wants to go there. If you're in the middle of a city centre, you're obviously going to get loads of bookings, but if you're on the edge on the motorway, it's not going to work. So make sure you do due diligence first and figure out why someone's going to book a property there. And once you do figure that out, then I'll give you a better idea and a better understanding to why you should invest there and if that's the right area to invest in. And my last point is not treating it like a business. This is an actual business, so you need to treat it like a business. It's not passive income unless you get systems in place and you systemize the business. So don't think about just getting a property and sticking it on Airbnb and booking.com, that it's just going to run itself and you're going to make loads of money. Now you actually need to make sure you systemize it. You've got the systems in place, so whenever you want to jet off, or there's things in place like measures like check-in details, automated messages, guest IDs, deposits, rental agreements, all that is all automated. You want to make sure you've got that in place. So life for you is basically so much better and you can scale faster. Now, just before I finish this video, how do you actually scale? So what happens when you get your first unit? How did you get your second? How did you get your third? When do you know when the time is right to invest and get the next deal? Well, the truth of the matter is, and the answer to that question is, it's entirely up to you. So you could either wait till you've recouped whatever you've invested into the first deal, or you can go right away, or you can wait a few months, or if you've built enough money in the kitty catty or in your bank account and you've got enough money for another deal, you can put it straight in. Just make sure you leave enough money in the float for, let's say, an extra month's rent. So you've got a month's that are dry, you can obviously cover costs, but always make sure you've got enough money in the bank and you don't basically fall short. Now, all you need to do is basically rinse and repeat the model, which is basically, now that you've got one, you basically get another one, and another one, and another one, and then basically scale it to a point where you're comfortable and you're happy to stay at. So what I would recommend is scaling to 5 to 8 properties, which is an ideal, perfect amount, which gives you enough money and enough profit to live a very good, stable life. So that's what I suggest. If you want to grow big and even bigger, then you can scale past 10. I think I'm on around 30 now, so I'm getting bigger and bigger. And life's good. It enables me to travel around the world. I can live anywhere. Unfortunately, I'm living in the UK at the moment because I have my dog and my family there. But I love my life. I can get up and travel whenever. Like, I'm in Greece at the moment, sat in this Airbnb with a bloody tub in the background. That's where I'm filming. And I'm sat on a really cool piece of thing. But it's as simple as that. Now look, if I can do this, you can do this too. But here's the thing, most people watch this video and do absolutely nothing. And they'll moan and grow and then they'll DM me asking for help and then basically do nothing about it. So the only way this is going to work is if you actually take action and actually do what needs to get done in order to succeed and build an actual genuine business. And bear in mind, building a business takes time. It's like having a baby. You have to nurture it, grow it, feed it, keep feeding it, and then eventually it will stand on its 2 feet. And it's the same way with this business. Don't think by getting one rent-to-rent, you're going to live a millionaire lifestyle and you're going to go buy Louis Vuitton. No. Like, the jacket that I'm wearing is like 690 quid. That's like a whole month's profit. So how many properties do you need in order to afford a jacket like this, a gilet like this? You know, this iPad is like 300-400 quid. You only really need, like, if you've got a crappy one bed, then that's 1 month's profit. If you've got a nice large house which gives you 2 grand a month profit or 1 grand a month profit, then this is literally 20% of your monthly profit. So all you need to do is scale up your income, scale up what money you're bringing in for property and rent to rent. So ideally, what I said in this clip is you really need 5 to 8 properties, which will give you a very nice, comfortable lifestyle. Now, I'm going to finish the video here, but if you do want to see more, check out my YouTube or DM me on Instagram or follow me on Instagram to see all my property content. And guys, if you do want mentorship and you do want actual, genuine help, send me a message on Instagram. I'll respond to you and give you the best guidance I can. And again, if you're looking for mentorship, you know where I am. I'll see you in the next video.